Let's consider the probability of two events when we're using a six-sided die. The first thing we need to do is consider the sample space. So when I'm using a six-sided die, my sample space is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. These are all the possible numbers that could roll on the dice. Now I need to consider the two events. Event A is equal to an odd number being rolled. Therefore, I need to write down every odd number on the dice. So, 1, 3, and 5 are my odd numbers on the dice. The second event, event B, is a number that is greater than 3. So 4, 5, and 6. With this information, I'm now going to place it onto a Venn diagram. First, I'm going to consider event A. Event A is going to be represented by the green circle, so I write an A above it in the left-hand corner. So, my possibilities for event A are 1, 3, and 5. And my possibilities for event B are 4, 5, and 6. The most important thing to do, or to look at, before you start writing the numbers down is to think about if they have any numbers in common. You should be able to notice that they both have the number 5 in common. Therefore, I only write into the space or the circle the numbers that are not in common. So I write down the numbers 1 and 3. I do the same for event B. So I'll be writing the numbers 4 and 6. Now since 5 occurs in both events, we write it where the two circles interlap or intersect. I now need to write in the purple rectangle the numbers that did not occur. So I need to look at the numbers that are in my sample space and compare them to the numbers that I used in both my events. I can notice that I never used the number 2 for either event A or B. Therefore, I write the number 2 down in the bottom left-hand corner. With our Venn diagram completed, we can now answer a range of different probabilities. The first question we're going to answer is, what is the probability of event A occurring? So therefore, what is the probability of rolling an odd number? The first thing I need to write is the number and that it needs to be odd. And that is going to be divided by the sample space. From here, I consider all the possible odd numbers that could be rolled. So I look back at my Venn diagram, and again, that is number 1, 3, and 5. Therefore, there are 3 possible numbers out of the 6 in the sample space. This simplified is 1 over 2. Or 50%. The next question is, what is the probability of event B occurring? Therefore, what's the probability of rolling a number greater than 3? When I write this, again, I need to write the number and the symbol for greater than 3. And again, that's going to be divided by all the numbers in the sample space. Therefore, there are again 1, to 3 possibilities divided by the total sample space, which again is 1 over 2, or 50%. This time I need to consider the probability of either event A or event B occurring. This means I need to determine whether an odd number or a number greater than 3 could be rolled. Therefore, we write it as the number either being odd or greater than 3. And once again, we divide that by the sample space. This time, there are 5 possibilities, or 5 numbers that are either odd or greater than 3. We should be able to notice them. So, 1 is an odd number, 3 is an odd number, 5 is also an odd number, and 4 and 6 are greater than the number 3. Therefore, there are 5 numbers that could be possible. This means we would write it as either 5 over 6 or 83%. For the last one, we're going to consider the probability of event A and event B occurring. This means that when I roll the dice, I want to know what's the probability of the number being odd and also greater than the number 3. This is where the intersecting part of the Venn diagram comes into play. As we can see, number 5 is the only number that is odd and greater than the number 3. Therefore, we write this as the number either having to be odd and greater than 3 divided by the sample space. Since 5 is the only number that is odd and greater than the number 3, that means I only have one possibility out of the 6 within the sample space. So therefore my probability is 1 over 6, or 17. 17%. With my Venn diagram completed, I can now answer a range of questions related to probability. The first one we're going to answer is, what is the probability of event A happening? To do this, I must consider all of the odd numbers being divided by the total sample space. In this case, there are 3 odd numbers, and there are 6 numbers in my sample space. Therefore, the probability of getting an odd number is 1 over 2, or a 50% chance.